Interestingly enough, the bad guy in this, her name is Carly, and it's spelled with a K too.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was like pretty disappointed in you when I was watching the show. I was like, "What are you doing, Carly?"
All right, it says that we're offline. It's gonna probably take them a second to get back into it, but all right, it says that we're off.
Also, the food sounds bomb.
Make sure
True.
you refresh. Okay, make sure you refresh. I'll tell people that. Make sure you refresh. There we go. Da-da-da-da-da.
That song
Okay, yeah, we're
slaps,
back.
yo.
I know.
Exactly. It's so
I know that
so
intro's
good.
crazy. But all right, so what were you just saying, Kevin Hart the Kid? You were saying you want to talk about John Walker.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, John Walker is like this new Captain America, who they put in position to take over for Bucky now that Bucky's no longer with us. So
Yeah, he's
what you have to
taking
say?
over the title of Captain America.
Yeah. So what do you have to say, Kevin Hart the Kid?
I said I hated him in
Mhm.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, but as an actor,
Yeah.
he's okay. But
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Like you gotta
yeah.
think.
When he messed up,
Mhm.
I was happy.
Yeah, you gotta think. It's like you gotta think like we don't even know this guy, and he's acting so well that he's made us not like him. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like you don't
There's
think
always the
about
thing.
that.
Like that's some good acting. If everybody hates you,
Yeah, I agree.
And I think they in the last, I think in the is episode 4, they really leaned into his motivations of like you can see he's jealous of like what Steve Rogers was and like being powerful.
Mhm.
And then when he encounters the shout out to the Dora Milaje from Wakanda, their scenes were friggin'
Yo,
badass.
I
That fight scene,
love.
that was
so dope.
great.
That was crazy.
With
Like,
with the
yo,
spinning, the spear in
When
the
he
neck.
just showed up and then he just puts it on Bucky's arm and then
yeah,
his arm just
Oh,
folds.
she just
yo,
like goes boop.
Jalen,
I was like,
Jalen,
wow.
tell me I'm wrong, but I feel like when you hear that music, the Wakanda music, it's like the Black national anthem. Like,
The,
you start you start getting amped. You're like, yo, let's go.
yeah, Wakanda forever.
And Matt, you be like, yo, there's my cookout invite. There's my cookout invite.
Done. Yo, save me a plate. It was good.
If Chadwick Boseman was still alive,
Oh my
Uh,
god.
I bet he would be there.
Yeah, man.
it
Oh,
was sad because I was that scene, the flashback at the beginning of the episode
yeah.
where you see him with I don't know the character's name because it's not the same one from the movie, but
The woman.
yeah, the woman.
I'll look it
Shuri?
up. No, not
It
Shuri.
wasn't Shuri. It was
It's
the one
it's the
who's
other
in
black
Winter
lady
Soldier.
who's from
Oh,
Wakanda.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. They all have like different names.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
their names are not common
They're
American names.
unique.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, they're
unique. That's a good
very,
way to
they're
put it.
very,
Yeah.
they're very unique. That
Um.
scene when Bucky, you had the flashback of Bucky for the first time, like
Yeah.
being cured of the Winter Soldier code word. I
Mm.
thought, and you see Wakanda, I was like, oh fuck. I'm like, it isn't right, but you wanted, like every part of us wanted to see T'Challa. Like, fuck, just give
I
me one
know.
scene with T'Challa. And I
Her
was like,
name is Ayo. Ayo.
Ayo.
Ayo. And then there's another one named Nomble.
Not
I'm like,
blame.
But their scene,
What you
like
what?
to the point.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just quickly, I got kind of caught off track, but
Yeah.
we can go into more depth on the Dora Milaje, but
Mhm.
the scene where they show up and you really get a sense of like, John Walker wants to be superhuman.
Mhm.
He's just a regular soldier that just like wants to do his job.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't feel sympathetic towards him, but I understood why he did what he did.
Yeah.
And I thought he was where he ended so far, where we've seen him so far, he was in a far better place character wise. Not like good place because he's in a pretty shit place, but
Yeah.
I think he's a better character now than he was like at the beginning. Like I had no interest in him before, so now it's like yeah, they did some good stuff with him.
Um. What do you? So one of the questions you wrote here, Matt, was: do you feel that Carly's methods are justified, given the landscape of the world, knowing how our world governments operate? So to put that in normal terms, so for you guys in the chat who haven't seen the show, So basically, imagine we're in a world where half the people disappeared, right? And they create this new world where there's like one country, everyone's unified. And then after they've been unified for 5 years, something happens where those half the world comes back, and now everyone wants to split up into these different countries. Which would you side with? Would you side with let's have one unified world, or let's go back to the multiple countries? The way I look at it is, yes, there are a bunch of people, and that's what we're used to, and there's a longer history of multiple countries. But I look at it like the people who are coming back, they're coming back to Earth, or this
Yeah,
timeline where everyone's unified. It's not the opposite way.
yeah.
What
I
do you
think
think?
I think it was interesting when they first brought up the point. It was kind of those themes of anarchism, but not anarchism in the sense of like no one's in charge and stuff, but
Hmm.
there's a political movement of like kind of a borderless, like the idea of a borderless world in the future where there is no nation sovereignty,
Yeah.
where like it's more of like there you wouldn't have to worry about immigrants because they just be people.
Right.
And I think that was a really interesting topic that they brought up with the blip. It's interesting how the blip has kind of both been a metaphor for a post-COVID world, as well as like like a post-immigration world,
Hmm.
or like in immigration being an issue. And I kind of agree in this sense where to imagine a world in which there's been this massive shared trauma of like half the population just disappearing and the world and everyone alive coming together to like heal and recover and help one another,
Yeah.
and then to just feel like they can go back to being segmented countries with like a United Nations and all these different borders and militaries. It's
Yeah.
like that's you can't go back at that point where it's like where did all that healing was for nothing.
Yeah.
And like it's like forgetting that trauma that everyone had suffered. And that's why, tying it back to the real world, I am worried about a post-COVID world in which we're like no longer, it's no longer a human condition in which like we're looking out for each other, and it goes
Hmm.
back to the way it was.
Yeah. I feel like because we're in COVID, everyone's like trying to find the solution. Everyone understands like, all right, this is what someone in Germany's going through, and China's going through. But once it's back, then we're all gonna be split up again. Jalen, what do you think about how Carly goes about it? Like, do you think she's being too aggressive? Do you think that she has a point?
I think she has a point.
Yeah.
Like everybody has disappeared for 5 years,
Right.
and everything has been great. But now
Yeah.
that after 5 years,
Mhm.
everybody comes back, and now, and now
These
they're
people need
not
help.
together and everything.
Right. Yeah.
They should they should be like when everybody left.
Right. Because it's like they everyone was unified. Everyone was working together. And like if you
Working
look, you remember in
together to
Endgame?
try to fix it.
Remember you remember in Endgame when Steve Rogers, Captain America, he's sitting in like therapy and he's talking to those other
Yeah.
people. Like a lot of people were doing that, and they were coming together and talking. And seems like when you go back to watch Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's like everyone's rushing and ripping and running, doing their own things. There's no unity. There's
Exactly. Yeah.
no one. It doesn't even seem like some people are talking about it. They kind of
Yeah,
went
everyone's
back.
just trying to like catch up to what life is supposed to be.
Right.
Whereas they're trying to get everybody back to speed. I mean, even that scene in WandaVision where Monica Rambeau comes back, it's like chaos. Everyone's just
Mhm.
fucking running around. They're like, oh my god, like what's happening? When I wrote the question originally, it was
Yeah.
more so like Sam Wilson's like conflict with Carly, basically be like, you're being too like, innocent
Aggressive
people are
and.
dying, like you're being
Mhm.
too aggressive and like what you're trying to do. And I think like it's always so easy to be like, and you could tie this to Black Lives Matter. Funny,
Yeah.
oddly enough, I just happened to watch these episodes the day that Chauvin's verdict came out. But
Guilty
you
on
look
all
at
charges.
guilty, yes, on all charges, thank God.
Mhm.
But it ties back to what we saw a lot, going back to George Floyd when the murder had happened and the protests began.
Yeah.
So many people are quick to say, oh, I agree with what you're doing, but I don't agree with, no, I agree with what you're saying, but I don't agree with how you're doing it. But
Right.
in reality, it's less about, I think even Martin Luther King said himself, is that it's less about the riot. It's not about the riots. Like, you don't fix the riots by, no, the riots are a condition, or the riots are a natural response to the conditions that
Mhm.
have put people in these positions. So it's less about like that, because the powers that be aren't going to change unless forced to.
Right.
So I see like Carly's side of where it's like, you know, I have the power to take action,
It's kind of,
and
yeah. It's
I can't afford to follow. I can't afford to follow the rules that you set for me because I'll
right.
never succeed.
It's kind of like a bully, right? Like if you let a bully pick on you forever and ever, and you never punch back, even though punching someone is wrong, until you punch that person back, they don't realize, oh shoot, this is what I'm doing to them. I have to stop. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jalen, I'm curious as our kid correspondent. Last summer, when all that stuff was going on, the protesting and George Floyd, did you follow any of that stuff? Did kids talk about it? Did your school talk about it?
No, not really. They
Yeah,
just sat, let it happen.
yeah.
Some people said they drove past it,
Mhm.
but other than that, no.
Did your mom talk to
Mhm.
you about it? No, not really. So it didn't really come up.
Uh,
That's interesting.
we
Um.
just really drove by.
Oh, so but you did. So but did you? Oh, so you're talking about the ones that happened actually in Boston.
Yes.
Oh, so you guys drove by and saw how crazy it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you know that it was happening all over the country?
No.
Yeah. So
Oh
what
wow.
happened last year was, after George Floyd was murdered, um, basically in all these different cities, people were doing these protests because they were angry about what happened. Um,
They're having these
and
protests across the world as well too.
yeah,
There are
yeah,
people
like
in
in
other countries.
France and Germany, England. It was happening all over the world, and it was this big thing, kind of like how, like you said, with the blip when everyone came together. It was kind of like that in but for real life. So, but going back into the show, what did you guys think about the fact that Isaiah, he was like the black Captain America before Captain America? What did you guys think
Yeah.
about them hiding that? What that make you think?
That made me think like they did that they're racist.
Mm,
They hid it
yeah,
away from everybody
right,
that there was a black Captain America.
right. And the reason I agree, Jalen, and what I was felt like it must to them it was like, okay, we can't have this black superhero because like who knows what he'll do or how it could revolutionize people or maybe he'll have
Yeah.
people come together. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah. I say it ties back to it just ties back to history. And it was just like a metaphor for what we've seen already.
Hmm.
I think the point you just said, tying back to like black strength and black symbolism, we can go back and discuss, a movie that I'm very passionate about, Judas and the Black Messiah, Fred Hampton,
Hmm.
also the likes of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King,
Yeah,
Marcus Garvey, like a lot of these other, prominent black
Yeah, you
figures.
can name 1,000 of them.
yeah.
Exactly. And like
Hmm.
time and time again, whether it's like revolutionary history or just like intellectual history,
Yeah.
time and time again, there's been like a whitewashing of that kind of knowledge. So we look at like the actual roots of like Africa and the kingdoms and
Hmm.
then the wealth that was generated there
Yeah.
many years ago, and but like you're taught to believe that it's always been a developing country,
Right.
or like even some of the intellectual accomplishments that have happened in the United States. We look at a few years last week we were talking about Janelle Monáe's performance in Hidden Figures,
Yep.
something that hadn't been celebrated until that movie had really come out, and how like black women were some of the trailblazers behind the NASA program.
Right.
So there's just time and time again there is this, and even like the Tuskegee Airmen, and the movie Glory that talks about the Black Regiment in the Civil War. How many times? I think Isaiah's point was perfect, and like the service that Black people would uh, eh, give to the United States through military,
Yeah.
and it's like fighting for a country that would never fight for you.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
line he said, um, and I'm gonna let you guys speak to it more, but the line,
Yeah.
his last conversation with Sam Wilson was like incredibly powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead, Jalen.
yeah, I agree. He said he didn't want the shield.
Mm-hmm.
They put him away for 30 years.
Right. Right. And Jalen, I don't know if you know what whitewashing is. Do you know what whitewashing is? So basically, what whitewashing is like when history is written by the winners, right? So what that means is if you and I get into a war, right, and it gets ugly, it's back and forth, because I won, I get to tell how the story was told, right? Because I have more power than you. So you look at something like Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving, it like when you look in movies and TV shows, it's like, oh, the Pilgrims came together with the Native Americans and everyone's happy. But what really happened is they went there and they killed the Native Americans. So that's whitewashing history. It's when you rewrite history to make it look like white people were, the superior ones. I mean, you look at like religion, like Jesus and Christians and stuff. Like you look a lot of time, Jesus is white, but it doesn't make sense because he's from the Middle East, so he should have brown skin. He wouldn't have blue eyes, So that's basically what that is. I thought one of the questions Matt had here was, do you think Sam should take the shield? Someone commented on our Instagram. I think it was Ian. He said it never occurred to me why Sam wouldn't take the shield. Did that ever make you think that the reason he didn't take it is because he was like, it's too much pressure to be a black man and having the shield?
Kevin Hart the Kid, you want to answer it first, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, yeah.
I think no, because I think if you just take the shield from him, he's basically a part of the government, but the shield isn't. But do you remember the last time he took the shield? He had to be on run with Steve. So I think he should have, but kind of shouldn't.
Yeah. And Matt, what was your thoughts on that? Did you think that he should have taken it?
From the start, I mean, I understood. I guess like at the beginning, I understood more of like the pressure of living up to Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
And like how he was kind of like a champion of like moral fortitude, especially like with at the beginning, as well as like with Captain in the Civil War event, in which like he kind of like was stood against the Sokovia Accords. And he had always been kind of like even though he had the super serum, his strength was from never backing down and like always standing up for what he believed in.
Yeah.
And like for Sam Wilson, like I understood why that was like such a daunting task. And I think once they dove into it a little bit more, it became clear. Like I think we all kind of subconsciously went into the show being like, thinking like, having seen all the stuff we've seen and the ongoing trials and whatnot, you're like, it's, there's, like I said before, with the, being a serviceman in the military, it's hard to fight for a country that time and time again has not fought for you. So I think that was subconsciously there. I didn't think Disney was going to touch on it. So when they did, I commend them for that. So it did come to as a surprise to me later on.
Yeah, so for me, I kind of had a different experience than both of you, I guess, because I remember watching Endgame, and the first thing I thought when Steve decided, hey, take this, I was thinking in the back of my head, I was like, well, I don't know much about what's Falcon's name? I'm blanking.
Sam Wilson.
Sam. Yeah, I was like, I was thinking, I was like, I don't know much about Sam, so it feels weird that he's taking over this big role. You know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
like, we don't really know him that well. Where it's like, all right, Captain America is like the leader. It's Iron Man and Captain America, you know. And I'm like, now Sam is supposed to run into that spot. I wasn't buying that part. But in the back of my head too, I was thinking, I'm like, damn, if they really go this route, I was thinking about how many white people would be upset about that. They're like, you know, they're not used to Captain America being someone who's not white. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Superman, like, and I have a conversation literally every year with one of my friends where it's like, he tells me, and it's funny, he's black. He says Superman can never be white, and I'm like, well, he's a fictional character, so I don't know why he couldn't.
Like,
And
could not be white.
excuse me, I meant couldn't be black.
Couldn't be black. Gotcha.
Yeah, so he thinks Superman has to be a white person, and it never really occurred to me. But in his head, he thinks it's like, well, America would never accept a black version of Superman. But it was funny because I was telling him like, well, Superman isn't American anyway. He's an alien.
Yeah, but like, unfortunately, Superman gets propped up as like this American icon.
Correct.
So
Right.
I
Exactly.
can kind of see that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I know. But
think people would be mad because they put John Walker as like a bad person,
Yeah.
and then they put like Sam
as his good.
Wilson
Yeah.
as like a leader and a superhero.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. That's
well,
that's
it goes to
interesting,
show
too.
that like Sam. Oh, I was gonna say it goes to show that like Sam kind of earns the rank.
Yeah.
He earns it like through his moral practice, whereas like John is given it as a title.
Which I think is
So-
an allegory or a metaphor. Again, I don't know if you know metaphor, Jalen. It just means like two things are similar. But it's like it's a mirroring of what happens in America a lot of time. A lot of times in America, white people are given things that black people or people of color have to work for. Um, and you see these things, Jalen, more and more as you get older. You'll understand a bit deeper. But what I was going to say was, I think that he should take it now, and even more. At first, I didn't think he could be the leader of this like next Avengers, but I do think he can be the Avenger. I think him and Bucky, like where Iron Man and Captain America kind of went back and forth, I think him and Bucky would be more
like-
unified.
the next
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
work together, you know, like
Yeah.
so there's not really this back and forth. It's like, yo, I got your back, bro, you know?
It's interesting with them because you have with Tony and Steve. They disagreed on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like they were different in like their belief system.
Yeah.
Whereas like you can tell like even in the last scene where Bucky and Sam like so far and Bucky and Sam kind of like when they say their goodbye for the episode, you can tell like they respect each other and they're usually on the same side together, but their bickering and their lack of like embracing each other just comes from like a reluctance. Like it's weird. I don't know how to put it better, but it's like it's kind of like you have a bromance with your friend, but you're like not embracing that bromance. Like you'd be like you don't hug each other, you like shake each other's hands, but it's like you love your brother.
Yeah.
So like just give him a hug, like let your guard down. So it seems like their guard is still kind of up. But it's like these guys, they've gone to war for each other. So I'm excited to see where that relationship goes in the final episode. I think
Is
him
tomorrow the
fully
final
embracing
episode?
the show. It is, yes.
Oh,
This is a
man, that
short
sucks.
series.
Man.
It's
I think-
already done.
Yeah, it's the finale.
No.
See,
They
Jalen,
have to put season 2.
man, see, Jalen, this is what they do to us, man. It's like they give us WandaVision, it's nice and long. Finally, we
It
get a
was
story about
so
we get a story
good.
about a brother, and they're like, nah, you guys get 6 episodes.
It was so good. It
I
needs
know.
To have it at least needs to have 3 seasons.
Yeah, man. Like,
You know it's kind of funny you say like
Yeah.
it's funny you said that Sam Wilson, like he's him being black, but like
yeah,
the Bucky, like the White Wolf,
Yeah.
like through a lot of like media since he like hung out in Wakanda, a lot of people kind of see him as like that, like
yeah.
oh,
He's-
you're
he-
invited to the cookout.
Yeah,
like, he's the-
exactly. Yeah, like I feel like Bucky is like, even though he's white, he's almost like a black character. Like, people talk about that where they like you look at like art,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
like there's certain characters you're like Arthur, even though Arthur isn't black or white, you're like Arthur's black, like the cartoon
Oh
character.
yeah.
Who are some
And
other
then
examples? I'm trying to think of
he's flirting with Sam's sister too. So you're like, oh no.
exactly. But Bucky is definitely invited to the cookout, no question. Real quick before we get out of here, I just want to put on the screen. Oh, my big head's on this screen, covering up this.
I'm
Hold on.
kind of not surprised about
Yeah.
Marvel like having like short seasons.
Yeah.
Is because I think it's because Marvel is used to just making movies. Because there's thousands of movies of
Yeah.
Marvels, and now there's only 2 shows.
Yeah, and I think to your point a little bit too, Jalen, is like, they're so used to doing movies and like that's like an hour and a half, but now that they really have to like take it slow and they're trying to connect everything too, they're like we don't want to get they're like we don't want to give you too much. These are kind of like these are kind of they're like previews for the bigger movies, I feel,
Yeah, but I feel like they, unlike, because remember they used to have those previews in the movies, and
Yeah.
they just felt out of place and they're like too quick and just
Right.
odd. I feel like these they're previews for the next phase, but they still tell a great story, and they give us and like WandaVision did.
Yeah.
This is giving us a great look at the characters and getting to give people more screen time that they didn't necessarily have. So I think this is like the best thing that Marvel could have done going forward.
Real quick, I want to put on the screen what's coming up. This might be out of date, so let me just pull up something on the screen to make sure that I have the latest, because I know with COVID a lot of these things have changed.
Wait, the trailer?
No, so it's we're just putting on the screen like what's the next TV show and movie to happen. So we've had WandaVision, we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Loki's coming up.
And then, all right, Black Widow's May 7th. Yeah, so then next is Black Widow, the movie, I think.
I'm kind of excited for it, but kind of not, because
Black
Widow was not my favorite character. Anybody, it was Tony or Steve or Black
True. Plus, like, I'm not really trying to spend $30.
Exactly, I'm not trying to spend $30 on a...
It's crazy that like it's like how they gonna expect us to spend $30 to watch this movie when we have been watching these shows for free for so long,
That's what I'm
like
saying,
I just feel like that's a lot to ask.
Wait,
people.
so they're not putting it on Disney Plus?
I don't know. I have to check. Matt, do you know if they're putting it on?
I believe they are. They announced it a while ago. The way they're doing it is, I think it's coming out in theaters, but also, I don't even know what theaters are doing these days.
Exactly. But I've never been to
but much
for like 2 years.
Much like Raya and the Last Dragon, and stuff and Mulan before that, they allow you to stream it on Disney Plus, but because it's a movie, you have to like pay to watch it.
Okay.
And the price is like ridiculous. It's like $30. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, you better print out like a box of popcorn and a large soda for me. Like that better come out of my computer, because I could go to the movies and like that's the same amount of money I'd be spending there.
Yeah.
Like, and aren't you already paying for Disney Plus? What's
you are
for Disney Plus Premium?
Right.
Well, actually, I think
and you're only paying for one movie. Realize
let me
once a new movie comes out, it only says buy premium on this one movie.
Yeah,
so you're basically buying premium for one movie.
I do. There is a thing. Oh, what?
Well, like, so I agree. Like, Jalen, you're paying it monthly, so it's like, why would you have to pay? I feel like if someone's not paying monthly, then they should have to pay like $20, $30. But if I'm paying monthly, they should have a discount or something, So what's next is Black Widow. And like you said, Jalen, like I kind of am interested, kind of not. Like I think it's gonna tie together some things. It's kind of I feel like it might be like Falcon and Winter Soldier, where we didn't know a lot about them, but then once we watched it, we like kind of felt more. But it's confusing too because she's dead. So I was kind of like, they must
How
be.
is this gonna go?
Yeah, I feel like so it's gonna be in the past. So they must be revealing something that we didn't know that Black Widow didn't get to mention to anyone else or something yet. And then after that, Loki, the TV show, is gonna be coming out.
I'm super
Can't
excited
wait
for
for
that.
that.
That's gonna
That
be
looks so
that's
fun.
gonna be dope. That's gonna be fun. They're like doing a lot
Time
of
traveling
time
stuff.
traveling. This summer, July 9th, Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings.
The trailer
A
just
little
came out. We reacted to it.
yes, a little.
Check it out on
I was gonna say
YouTube.
a little preview. I'll try to get that up maybe Friday or Saturday. The file Matt sent was so large I couldn't edit it. It was crazy. So I haven't had the chance.
Sorry
But
about that.
we did a little trailer reaction to that. That's gonna come out probably this weekend. Did you get to see the trailer for that, Jalen?
No.
Yeah, look that up on YouTube. Shang-Chi and or just type in Marvel and you'll see it. It's the latest Marvel movie
Yo,
when you get a
Kevin
chance.
Hart the Kid. We might have to invite you for our next trailer reaction.
Yeah.
It'll
And if
be
Black
fun.
It would be an honor.
and if Black Widow comes out on like a platform or something, maybe we could do like a big watch party. I'll pay for it,
Could.
and then I don't know how I'll be able to share it with the screen. There must be some way you can figure out how to share this
You
stuff,
can do it
man.
on. I think you can do it on Zoom or like
Yeah,
a Google.
it's got to be something like that, Zoom or
Meet or something.
Google, where I connect my
I
TV, right?
can pay for it on my end. It won't be too big of a deal. We'll just write it down on the taxes for the Circle Club next
Yeah,
year.
yeah. But I just something we can get other people invited into so they can see it.
For sure, for sure.
That way
yeah.
we pay for it and it is what it is. Disney, if you're
For
watching
sure.
and you're mad about that, be mad and sponsor us.
Facts.
Yeah.
Don't know what to tell you.
We're covering your content
Sponsor
already.
us for
So
something.
Yeah, but all right, man. Jalen, thanks for showing up, man. This has been a fun show. What are you guys watching right now? You watching anything new?
Falcon Winter Soldier, baby.
Exactly.
That's all you're watching.
Watch
That's all you're watching.
It's not all I'm watching.
Yeah.
I started watching Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix.
Okay.
If you want to be really sad, definitely watch that. Oh,
I'm watching.
sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
The Great North is another show, the animated show from Fox, made by the creators of Bob's Burgers.
I'm gonna try that out.
And I got a glowing recommendation from both you and my younger sister on Solar Opposites. Definitely gonna try and peep that soon.
Oh yeah, TTV Finn. Is that your brother? Is that his username?
TT Phoenix.
I've been here the whole time.
He said I've been here the whole time. What's up, buddy? Why don't he come on the chat real quick? Tell him to come in here.
Jordan, come here.
Tell him to come on. We can have him say what's up.
We got a family of correspondence here.
Right.
That's what we
I'm
doing.
watching this show called Couples Therapy. It's very interesting. It's on. You can actually look it up on YouTube. I recommend everyone watch the first episode. It shows a
Shoot the
therapist.
voice.
Hey, there they go.
Oh, the family was good.
Hey, look, there
It's
they go.
Jace.
What's up? What's up, buddies? Oh, he's watching the whole
shoot.
time.
We've
Look at
been
this,
on the
Carly.
stream the whole
Carly,
time.
come
The
here.
Legends.
Carly's
The
here now too.
legends. Yo, shout out Carly with the brunette hair.
He said, "Shout out, Carly."
Fire. You looking fantastic.
Thank you. Jalen said hi.
Yo,
No,
I gotta get a guest.
you trying to take my gum.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm watching this show, Couples Therapy, and it shows couples and like the second season's and like shows them during the pandemic how they are doing stuff. But it's cool. They show a therapist talking essentially to like her therapist or her like advisor, which is interesting just to see how a therapist's mind thinks. As far as fun shows, I'm watching some more Summer Camp Island. I Can't Stop. Solar Opposites. And Matt, what's the one that you just said? I want to watch that one.
The Great North.
Yes, The Great North. I want to check
It's a
that
really
one
good
out
one.
too.
If you're not a fan of I really enjoy Bob's Burgers, but it's not like Bob's Burgers. It's kind of
Okay.
more so its own humor, and it's kind of fun. It takes place in like Alaska, so it's a lot different than
Mm.
what we're used to seeing.
Oh.
there is a show. Talia, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but did you start watching For All Mankind? That's a good one. I started watching this documentary. It's based in Boston called "This Is a Robbery," and
Oh shoot.
it's about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Apparently, in the
Ooh,
80s or 90s, someone went in there and stole a bunch of the art.
that's crazy.
90s, and they still to this day haven't figured out what's going on. But it goes
Wow.
through like I haven't finished it, so I don't know what happens. But they go through it and they think it's like mob related. It's like this kid and like they're trying to track it. And there's some characters in there that are straight from Boston that you're like, dang, this guy from Boston, you know?
That's amazing.
Like, oh,
I
I
love
gotta
it.
get like one of the dudes is like, oh, he's like, before I take my gal to the Isabella Stewart Garden, I gotta go get my dunks, and I'm like, this is just so Bostonian.
I
I've
cannot.
been watching How I Get Away with Murder on Netflix.
Ooh, that's a
Damn, what
good
you training
show.
for? What you training for? Come on,
Who you trying to
Kev.
murder?
Come on, Kevin Hart the Kid. That's tough.
That's a good show.
I was planning to watch it after I finished Arrow.
Yeah.
I still have one
Ooh.
more episode of Arrow before I can like start watching it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
really get
day.
in. Yeah. Damn,
Gotta
bro.
get in with my got finish it after a year.
I actually have a
Shout out Viola Davis.
Jalen. One of my friends knows the main actor of Arrow, and he
Oh,
said
Stephen
said
Amell.
what's his name? His
I
name
think it was Steven. Yep.
Steven, yeah, Steven Amell, something like that. He sent me an autograph and it says to Tyrone and all this stuff. So I'll
That's
show you sometime.
golden. We gotta get her on the stream too.
We do. But Jalen, who's your favorite character in How to Get Away with Murder so far?
It's that girl who's in
Michaela?
yeah,
Yeah, she's smart. She's real smart.
real smart.
And she's pretty too. I like Wes. The black dude, the main black dude.
Yeah.
He's also in Harry Potter. He was famous for being in Harry
No
Potter.
way. Who was he?
I
Was
know
he
one
Dean?
thing
Dean,
about
yes, it was Dean.
Who's Dean?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
Oh,
then. Shoot.
classic, Matt. This is really what he's known for is How to Get Away with Murder. And then
That's
the main
goated.
teacher, Jalen, is Viola Davis, Annalise Keating. Like you don't even know right now because you're still so young, man. But she's like the greatest actress of this generation. Like one of the
Yeah,
greatest.
Viola Davis.
Wasn't she in Luke Cage?
Yeah,
No,
I
no,
think
no.
she wasn't she in
No,
Luke
she
Cage?
wasn't in Luke
No.
Cage. No. Viola Davis was she was in Fences with
I could have swore she had.
Denzel Washington.
Oh no, she was in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna be in Suicide Squad 2.
Yep.
She was in Suicide. Wait, did
she was
they
in-
get Suicide Squad too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta watch the trailer for it.
Is Will Smith going to be Deadshot again?
Nah, Will Smith
No.
isn't in it. But Idris
Dang,
Elba.
I'm not watching
Idris,
it.
he said, "I'm not watching it. I'm not watching."
Idris Elba's in it. He's I think he plays Bloodsport, which
You know
is
Idris Elba,
kind of
the British dude with the deep voice. Let me pull up a
What
picture
was
for you.
he in?
He was in the most recent. He was in Hobbs, and he was in the Fast and the Furious spin-off
Hobbs
movie.
Hobbs?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a bad guy.
Wait, is he that dude
He's
that has a
this
bald-
guy.
He's a British guy.
Okay, now I'm watching it. I'm watching it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
All
I'm
right.
saying.
I'm
Public
watching it.
announcement. He's watching it.
That's
Whenever
goated.
he's in a movie,
Yeah.
you know it's gonna be violent.
Idris Elba's the goat.
So
And
true.
the biggest missed opportunity is how the fuck did they not make him 007 like years ago when he was young
Yeah.
enough to do it? Because they
I
kept
know.
talking about it, they never got in touch with him, and now he's like too old. And, like,
Because
he would have been
Because
the most
England
voted.
and British people and Americans weren't ready. They weren't ready for it.
big facts, bro.
But-
Freaking the Queen wasn't ready for a dark skinned baby, so like,
Right.
that country's fucked.
Exactly. And that baby was mad light skinned.
Facts, bro.
But all right, man. That's all we got for today. Thanks everyone for sticking around after the mess up. It was fun. Kevin Hart the Kid, thanks for showing up. It's always a blast to have you, man.
It's always a blast. We'll have you on again
Um,
soon. Thank
yeah,
you
so
again, Hannah, for coming through.
Maybe we can have you
Fantastic
come
guest.
back next week to talk for 15 minutes about the finale after we watch it together, you know?
Yes.
Cool.
And then
Yes,
Matt is gonna show up on Tea Time on Tuesday. I believe
Yes, sir.
Carly's gonna be there 7:30.
Have a little
Show
something fun
up.
special. We're bringing an extra jug of tea for that one,
Yes,
bro.
we got. That's Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, wherever you want to watch us. Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. That's gonna do it for us. All right, everyone. Peace out. Thanks for
Sounds
showing
good,
up,
baby.
and
See ya.
have a great weekend. Peace.
At some point, you gotta decide for yourself who you gonna be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you.
I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.